This is Dr. David Herzog, clinical psychologist and yoga teacher for the Technology of You, to speak with you about how privileged I am to have your attention. Privileged to have your ear. I'm also white privileged to be here with you. It is my white privilege that affords me the resources to have an education that has allowed me to have a career, that has allowed me to make an income, allowed me to have disposable income to purchase electronics, to pay for subscriptions, to allow me to communicate this message to you. I am white privileged to have been born white. Certainly something I didn't earn. I am white privileged to have the support, the financial support of my father, who had the white privilege of getting an education, the white privilege that allowed him the resources to pay for his education, the white privilege that allowed him to excel in his career, being chosen in part for his college admission, for his jobs, because of the color of his skin. I am white privileged to have grown up with that support. I am white privileged to have received the education that allowed me to succeed. Because of being white privileged, I got called upon more when I rose my hand. Because I am white privileged, I got more attention from my professors and from my peers. Because I am white privileged, I had more influence. I learned to develop a voice, to speak up and speak out. And that voice was heard because I am white privileged. And as I have moved through my life, I have continually benefited from my white privilege. The ability to own a home in a nice neighborhood, upscale neighborhood. I am white privileged to have a car that I can drive to get places, to go to the DMV, to get my government ID so I can vote. I am white privileged in every facet of my life. And because of that white privilege, it means that if I've got privilege, there are others that don't. And so my responsibility is to use the white privilege I have to make change, to affect meaningful, lasting change, and be persistent in making sure that that change is sustained. I could attend protests in support of minorities, and certainly that white privilege, that show of support is meaningful, but it's not enough. It's not a one and done, folks. You are responsible to use your white privilege to lift up minorities, to challenge the system that keeps them down, to challenge the system that you and I participate in, whether we realize it or not. We have fallen into patterns of behaving because of the institutionalized racism in this culture, that we participate in it sometimes unknowingly. So our responsibility with our white privilege, if we are white privileged, is to educate ourselves about the racism that runs rampant throughout our culture, to own our privilege, our power, and our racism, to admit that we have been less than aware of the injustices that continue because of the powers that be, because of institutionalized racism. So use, if you choose, your white privilege to jump off the ledge of that place of power, of being more privileged than, and reach down to those with less, and use that privilege to lift them up, to help support education for minorities, to help them get access to nutrition, to healthcare, to the same things that we take for granted. Challenge yourself, challenge your family, your friends, and hold them accountable to being white privileged and to doing something about it. For the sake of the survival of humanity. You have a choice to make. What will you choose? Listen to your heart, listen to your gut, using the technology of you that you, like me, can focus on protecting and supporting the we. Helping others, being and thriving.